Welcome back to Between the Ropes, an on-the-go media podcast production. Colt Powers here next to me. My name is Hunter Dietz. Colt, I'm kind of going to let you take the lead on this. You've got some results from SmackDown this past week, and we had some interesting stuff happen, didn't we?
We did, and as I was telling you before we started this, it really upsets me that. So initially, my misunderstanding that all of WWE was going to be on Netflix, and so I got rid of satellite. I got rid of everything, and now I don't have a way to watch SmackDown.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate, but I'm not going back to a satellite. So I live with getting my results and stuff. I have to look them up.
Sure.
I have to go look for videos, stuff like that. So some really good stuff, though. Probably, I don't know. This isn't the biggest thing of the night. This was the end of the night. This was your main event. Cody Rhodes versus Bronson Reed. It ended in a DQ. But I think the bigger news was Logan Paul running interference because he's joined the division we're presuming for War Games.
Yep.
And then Drew McIntyre came out from his suspension and joined the Vision.
Yes.
So Usos, I think, came out to try and help Cody.
I think so, yep. And it'll be interesting to see from here whether or not they stay with the Vision post-War Games.
Yeah, I'm curious how this is going to go because, I mean, anything Paul Heyman touches turns to gold. I mean, he is... I don't know if you've taken the time to watch it yet. Not that I want to sell anybody on another podcast, but Stephanie McMahon's and Paul Heyman, I think it's about a 2-hour podcast.
I haven't. I saw some clips from it, but I haven't watched it all the way through.
It doesn't seem like 2 hours. I mean, Paul Heyman's storytelling is just...
He needs his own podcast.
Oh, my... I whatever he chooses to do, I could sit and just listen and watch. I mean, just the way he tells stuff is so good. But anyway, that's beside the point. What they're doing with the Vision is really good stuff. And anybody that, like you said, Paul Heyman comes in contact with does really well. So we'll see where this all leads there. So that was I think it's pretty big news, especially with Drew McIntyre and stuff coming in there for joining that team for War Games. But probably I'm going to say bigger news from SmackDown is the mystery opponent that LA Knight had. LA Knight came out, they're waiting to see, and then it was just woo, woo, woo. And we had the return of Zack Ryder. And I didn't expect it to be Zack. I really thought it was going to be Matt Cardona. I know that he's alluded to it, that he's always got his gear ready. And they had it was a remix of his entrance theme.
Yeah, it wasn't the normal broski theme that we're used to from Zack.
So whoever if it's him working with somebody or if it was WWE, somebody's kind of had this plan that this was kind of coming down the wire. So
yeah.
I mean, that I thought was pretty big news. I'm hoping that this is going to be a return for a long-term partnership. Not necessarily Zack Ryder. I would really like to see Matt Cardona.
Yeah, and I mean, with everything that Matt Cardona's done since getting fired from WWE in 2020, getting to see him come back, and even if it is as Zack Ryder, to experience what clearly he's been looking for this entire time, which is just to come back home.
Yep.
And that's really special from a fan's perspective to get to see a guy like that who's worked so hard get to fulfill that dream again and get back onto TV. Even in a losing effort. I was kind of surprised that he lost to LA Knight.
I'm not surprised that he lost to LA Knight because I think Knight, if that's who ends up being Cena's final match, he could use the rub from it because you can't tell me he's not popular.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he is, in my opinion, no offense against Uso, but he's bigger than the Usos. He's bigger than Jay to me. I really think Knight has put in the work. He's almost a mirror of Cardona. In all honesty, and they worked really well together. Everything that I was able, I think I found the complete match when I was looking online. And their chemistry together was really good. I could almost go for them as a tag team, although I don't want to see them. I like them in singles runs, but yeah. I could see them working together.
Sure.
And they had a very similar style. So I was very impressed. I loved the match. Like I said, I would have liked to see him win, but if I was going to pick or choose something, I'd say I'm okay that Zach lost, but I want to see Matt come back and win. You know, we could do a 3-face to Foley like we talked earlier.
Yep, that's right. That'd be pretty cool if they could do something like that. But speaking of Raw, this past week from Boston at the TD Garden, John Cena comes out at the top of the show after being introduced by Triple H, and he makes this big spectacle. This is where he saw his first WWF show, and
he kind of seemed like he was just going to talk.
Yeah,
I thought,
I thought it was a promo.
We're just doing a promo here. He's just coming out to say hello and stuff, and then
here's the genius about promo or about John Cena though. He always shows up to promos in his gear.
Amen.
You never know.
You don't know. You don't know when something's going to happen.
So when some, snotty little brat like Dominic Mysterio comes to interrupt the greatest of all time, and Triple H puts them in a match for the Intercontinental Championship, John's ready to go.
He's
top
all
of the
ready
show.
To go. Yep, top of the show. That was a hangover. I mean, just the match itself was a great way to start, and I'm so glad we got to see Dominic and Cena.
Yeah, me too.
I think that should have been a one of his matches all along, whether they had it planned or not. That should have been planned. That he took on Dominic.
I agree, and like you said, they had a great match. The whole time, though, I wasn't sure. There's no way they're really going to put the belt on Cena. This is just a good way to get Dom over as champion. But
we've had this discussion, though.
We have.
I don't think we did it on here yet, but we had this discussion that the Grand Slam champion thing is kind of a thing of the past. Nobody's really, and they've kind of changed some of the rules here and there of how you can achieve it. So, I mean, it's kind of a thing of the past. So we're thinking, this, it's a great match. It's, but will they really put the belt on him? And oh my God, they did.
Lo and behold, they did. And I tell you what, I pulled up, every time a big moment like that happens, I like to go onto YouTube and go find video from the crowd. So that way I feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
So getting to see that moment from the crowd and the crowd's reaction of, oh my God, there's no way. There's no way. Is this happening? Is this happening right now? I'll tell you what, I shed a tear watching that.
Yeah.
Seeing Cena get to do that in Boston, that's great. I can only imagine December 13th, Saturday night's main event, there will be many more tears shed, not just myself, but all across the country and the world, as John Cena starts to wrap up his retirement tour here.
Yep. Because what do we got? 2 dates? 3 including tonight?
Raw Madison Square Garden tonight, which will have happened by the time this comes out, and then Survivor Series War Games in San Diego, and Saturday night's main event in Washington D.C. So, and then it's over.
And then that's it. That's it. The end, literally the end of another era, because we had, you talk about end of eras. You had Undertaker versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell, with Shawn Michaels as the guest referee. That was the end of an era. And this is just as big.
Yeah.
Because Cena was such a huge part, and we're talking about doing a podcast, doing one of these episodes, and focusing solely on Cena. We'll probably do it after his final match and stuff. But I do think, we talk about the history of WWE. We talk about the history of wrestling in general. Obviously up on that Mount Rushmore type thing, we've got Ric Flair. I think you got Hulk Hogan, and it's very difficult to put other people in there. But I do think John Cena does deserve a place as an immortal, with obviously WWE. He didn't really wrestle anywhere else prior to Independence or prior to WWE except for Independence, but he does deserve a spot up on a Mount Rushmore, some kind of,
I agree,
the pinnacle of, I think he's just as synonymous with like a Hulkamania. C-Nation, I think, is just as big. I agree.
And we're talking about John Cena. We know that Cena, obviously, future Hall of Famer, more than likely next year. And so I do want to go back to an unreleased part of last week's podcast where we talk about the AEW and WCW Hall of Fames. So we'll go to that now. We're talking a lot about Sting and the Hall of Fame and stuff, and there's been some talk recently about All Elite Wrestling potentially having their first Hall of Fame class next year.
Yep.
And I've got some of these written down here, just some of the rumor mill, and I want your thoughts on this. So obviously, I think everyone is in agreement. Whatever they do, Sting needs to be one of the first inductees in the AEW Hall of Fame.
100%. Sting going there after we thought that he was done. WWE last match was with Seth Rollins, Night of Champions, and had some problems in that match with the buckle bomb, and Sting retired the next year when he went into the WWE Hall of Fame, and then just a couple of short years later, he made an appearance at AEW, and he did I think one or two cinematic matches with Darby Allin,
I think you're right,
as his tag partner. Sting wanting to do what's right for wrestling and help bring up a young man and help give them the rub in the business and whatnot. And he spent, I think, 3 years, maybe 4 years in AEW working with Darby and in tag team matches.
3.5, I think. Yeah, because I think it was like winter. I think the show was called Winter is Coming in 2020 when Sting debuted. And then it was March of 24 that he retired.
Yeah, so I think, so, I mean, he spent a few years there, and I do think that he helped elevate it. I mean, AEW started off with great talent. I mean, you had Cody Rhodes, you had Chris Jericho. I mean, not to discredit any of this talent, because that is phenomenal talent, but to have a veteran like Sting come in, not that Jericho isn't but somebody like Sting to come in and, put his stamp of approval on this promotion and willing to work with these guys, I think Sting is definitely a good choice to be putting in the Hall of Fame.
Completely agree. And some of the other names that have been thrown out there are, for first ballot, Sting, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, and Cody Rhodes. Now, I think all of those could be future headliners of Hall of Fame, so I don't see all of them going in the same class.
No, and I don't think I'd put them all in yet either, because I don't want to say never when it comes to Cody Rhodes. Do I think he's going to end in WWE? I think he probably will. But you can't ever say never when it comes to this. And Cody is, I mean, even in wrestling terms, compared to what some people have put in those years, he is relatively young.
He is.
So I would hate to see them. I don't like seeing people go into the Hall of Fame when they're still that active. I mean, Rey Mysterio at least isn't super active. He's still active enough.
Special appearances, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, keep it to the special appearances, and that's good. But, Kenny's still...
Kenny's still going.
He's still going with
Adam
him.
Page is still main eventing. Cody's in a different company, holding their belt. I don't see those things happening. So I put together a couple of predictions for what I think could be their first ballot. So obviously headlining Sting, inducted by Flair. I think that's fair. Flair's still under AEW contract for his Woo Energy or Woo Weed or whatever it was.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's still under contract through next year. And they really haven't done much with him. I think that this is a easy slam dunk to have him induct Sting into the Hall of Fame.
I think so too, and maybe he makes appearances or something. I mean, obviously, then they're selling that drink at their events and stuff, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
And I don't watch enough of it to know during commercials. Maybe they promote it during commercials or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look a little more into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's an easy one. Another one that I feel like could go in easily first year just because of his dedication to this company, even through times when it would have been easy for him to quit, Dustin Rhodes. He is at the end of his career, it feels like. He's talked about hanging up the boots, I think, coming up here soon. And he's older. So I think that that's deserving. And obviously, the easy induction there would be Cody. But I don't necessarily see that happening, so I don't know who you would have induct him. But I do think Dustin deserves it. I think everything that he's given to that company and to the industry,
100%,
absolutely deserves
100%. It. Dustin is definitely one, especially as he's coming down. But he's one that's another one that's very deceiving as far as his age, because
that's true.
He was he took on Roddy Piper at WrestleMania. Which Mania was that? The parking lot brawl.
Oh, 12.
Yeah, I mean, you don't always think of active wrestlers that go back to, like HBK was active at early WrestleManias, and he's done. And so Dustin, I mean, he has taken really good care of himself.
He really has.
And he has evolved his characters throughout the years.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to have that staying power. And I think Dustin would be another great one.
And then, kind of a cliche, but you have to have a tag team in there. And I feel like the closest tag team to retiring the AEW could reasonably put in is the Hardys. The Bucks aren't done yet.
No, they won't be done
Private
for a while.
Party, the Acclaimed, these are all like AEW mainstays, but they're not. I don't feel like they're ready to go in yet. I do think the Bucks would induct the Hardy Boys.
That's fair.
I do think that's something. So that's kind of a wild card out there. Owen Hart, despite having nothing to do with AEW, I feel like AEW wants to put Owen Hart's name in a respectful light. They've done the tournament and everything. Slam
and I
Dunk.
think his wife has some kind of contract with him because they put out figures and.
Yep, she does. She presents the Owen Hart Cup or the tournament that they have. She's under contract with them and all that. So easy to have Martha induct Owen. Like I said, despite him not having anything to do with it and dying 20 years before the forming of the company, his impact obviously is still felt, and I feel like that's someone that they would want to honor. And going further as to honor people in AEW, Brody Lee.
100%.
Inducted, I think, by his son, -1.
I think that would be a good one too. Yeah,
and so I can see that. But kind of give me some of your thoughts on that list, and is there anyone that you would put in that I didn't have on that list?
As far as an AEW Hall of Fame right now,
maybe Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe, and he's gone around to different companies. I wish he would have had a better tenure in WWE.
Yeah,
I understand. Because him and Triple H, I think, were very good behind the scenes. I just don't think that they could.
I don't think the creative ever quite worked out the way they wanted.
No, and so, he was a force to be reckoned with in TNA.
Yeah.
And now he's still, I mean, everybody, I think, talks about the little walk away he does when somebody jumps off the ropes. And I think probably the most famous one is when he's sitting there going, while Samoa Joe just he's got that grin on his face. That started out as a house show thing and just a rib on somebody. And
it looks like a house show spot.
It is. But so for me, I'm biased. Sting, to me, is the top one. But I do agree, Dustin Rhodes definitely is another one. And then down the line, I would like to see Cody. Not that I don't want to see it, I just don't want to see it yet. That's
someone as active as Cody, you don't want to put them in a Hall of Fame, and that goes for WWE too. I mean, I'm still not very happy. Like you were okay with Rey Mysterio because he's slowed down. They should be retired.
I would like to see him retired, and I'd like to see him out of the business for a few years. When I say out of the ring, I want to see him behind the scenes. For a prime example, I think is Undertaker. I not that he is one of the most deserving to ever go into the Hall of Fame, but they put him in so quick, and I feel like WWE is just searching for those headliners, those draws to bring people in, and they put some people in just too fast, in my opinion.
Well, and I would be willing to bet money that the headliner next year is John Cena.
And that's for me again. That's a bit quick. I feel like I just don't like how fast. But Cena's another one. Yes, he deserves the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you're not going to argue that he shouldn't be
No.
part of the Hall of Fame. It's
No way.
It's just a matter of allowing that time to pass. Like I don't know exactly what it is for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but like you have to be retired for a certain number of years. You have to meet certain criteria.
Yeah.
And the only time I can see it going the other way, where you do have a Hall of Famer still competing, is in a situation like with Edge, where you think he is done. Like, there's no way he's coming back from this. We'll put him in.
Yeah, the neck surgery and stuff that he had, he at that time thought he was done. It was over. And
I still would have liked to see him wait a couple of years because they did put him in, like, immediately.
Yep.
But I also understand in this business, like, they never got the chance to give Eddie his induction.
So that's the caveat to this is that, if you wait, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's another reason I was talking with a gentleman in line about this. When you have an opportunity to meet somebody or give them that Hall of Fame or whatever, you almost need to take it because you just don't know. Prime example, Bray Wyatt. Who would have thought he would have passed away as young as he did?
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't feel like, Eddie, nobody saw it coming. It's hard. It is a hard balance, I feel like, because you want to be able to honor them, because then you end up situations like Macho Man Randy Savage, who was out of the business, and I did watch an article, I watched a video that he had reached out to Vince and
They were on good terms. One of Macho Man's last things that he did obviously, like, not his last appearance in public or anything, but like one of the last recorded things that Macho Man did was a game promo for WWE 13.
Yep.
So he was coming back into the fold.
He was, and so that was coming, and then you have a car accident.
And then, yeah. And you can't predict those things. There are certain places where I feel like they shouldn't be excused. For example, Vader took too long to go in. Psycho Sid, still not in.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to give leeway on those because they're meeting our criteria or anything.
No, and that's why I say like Ray, I was okay with.
Sure.
And, so there is that fine balance, and I might sound hypocritical, but.
Well, speaking of the Hall of Fame and people dying and Sting, you learned just earlier today WCW had a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I did not realize they had a Hall of Fame.
They did. They started their Hall of Fame the same year that WWE started theirs, 1993, and the inductees were given out at Slamboree.
Okay.
So Slamboree 93, 94, 95 were Hall of Fame inductions, and they stopped doing the Hall of Fame in 95.
So it lasted for 3 years?
It lasted for 3 years, and then they stopped.
Okay.
So I'd like to get your thoughts on some of these, because we were also wondering, WWE buys WCW, does their Hall of Fame kind of go into WWE's by proxy?
Yep.
I was curious to know how many of these are in the WWE Hall of Fame. So 1993, class of 4, Lou Thez, well-deserving.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Legacy Wing 2016 for WWE.
Okay.
I do not like the Legacy Wing because
Agreed.
I don't feel like it gives due respect to the people that they put in it.
I agree.
I understand they've passed for some time and you probably don't have anyone alive to talk about them, but they're a historian. Get Jim Cornette up there to freestyle about Lou Thez.
Yeah, somebody can. Hell, you could have. You're gonna have to edit a part here because I completely just completely blanked. Who was the Stooges?
Pat and Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry Briscoe. Yeah.
Briscoe. Yeah, edit that one.
Yeah.
Jerry, I met Jerry Briscoe. So.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, he was at Dan Gable's music.
Sure, yeah.
So he's involved with that, which is Lou Thez.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's plenty of guys around.
No way he can't talk about it.
No,
absolutely.
Yeah, he can absolutely talk about that.
Vern Gagne goes into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2006, goes into the WCW in 1993. Well deserving.
Yep, 100%.
And I appreciate the fact that Vern got to go in while he was alive.
Yep.
Mr. Wrestling 2, not in the WWE Hall of Fame. No importance to WWE.
That's where
that would be the argument. But are you a company Hall of Fame or are you a wrestling Hall of Fame? And I think that's where this is very clearly a wrestling Hall of Fame because many of these people I don't think had anything to do with WCW. And then the final one in 1993, Eddie Graham, inducted in 2008 into the WWE Hall of Fame. So that 93 lineup, you're cool with all those, well-deserving of Hall of Fame inductions?
Yeah, I'm all good with those.
Okay.
Yeah.
94, Harley Race.
100%.
Interesting, though, because he was with the company at the time, WCW in 94.
Yep. He was working as a manager at that point, was he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, he was. And so that's obviously well-deserving. Ernie Ladd.
Ernie Ladd, yeah.
Who goes into the WWF Hall of Fame the following year, 95.
Okay.
The Crusher.
Okay.
Did not go into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Okay.
we're seeing a pattern here of who does and doesn't get in.
Yep.
Dick the Bruiser goes in 94. Legacy Wing 2021.
Okay.
Ole Anderson. This one's kind of interesting. Ole never got an induction in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Even with the Four Horsemen, right?
But he was a part of the Four Horsemen, right? But he wasn't on stage because it was Rick, Arn, Tully, and Barry.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Did they officially induct Ole?
I don't know. It's not. It's like when they inducted the NWO. Did they induct just the 4 guys that went up, or is Scott Norton and Sharmell part of the NWO Hall of Fame induction?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't imagine that.
Is Sharmell a 2-time Hall of Famer? Keep your comments to yourself.
I like Sharmell. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong.
Sure. But we're talking about 2-timers here. Which, by the way, Booker T, Harlem Heat.
Yep.
Booker T.
Yep.
Sharmell, so 0.5. And then NWO, other 0.5.
But was he, how much, he wasn't really involved with the NWO for very long, was he?
He was in the O2 NWO, just as much as Shawn Michaels.
He was?
Yeah, they kicked Booker out to put Shawn Michaels in.
That's right. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
So, can you go 0.5?
0.25. And then the Masked Assassin. Now, this is not, when they said the Masked Assassin, I was picturing Bill Eadie of Demolition. But that was the Masked Superstar.
Okay.
So this guy, I don't know him. But
I'd have to go back and look.
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm obviously not in the WWE Hall of Fame. And then the final.
But again, this is the WCW.
This is the WCW
This
Hall
is
of Fame
who is in their Hall of Fame with some that are in WWE.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So 95, the last year of the WCW Hall of Fame, Wahoo McDaniel.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Legacy Wing in 2019 for WWE.
Took way too long to get him in.
Way too long. I mean, he's the reason Triple H got into wrestling.
That's it. That
alone. Put him in.
Yeah, that alone.
Dusty goes in 2007. You were there for that, weren't you?
Yes.
You were.
Yes.
You were. And that was the last one where they had kind of a nice banquet hall type setting for, arena venue type thing. Whereas after that, it became like Stadium Hall of Fames.
Yeah, because that one was a theater.
Theater, yeah, that's right.
Because we were at the Fox Theater, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And even that, I will agree with some people. I think I'd rather go back to I think it was 2004 when Harley was inducted. Mm-hmm. That I don't remember there being a lot of fans there.
I don't know that they were in.
And if there was none, I think I like that better. I mean, I know they're trying to make it a moneymaker, but you didn't have the chance. You didn't have the people.
I hate the chance.
At the Hall of Fame, it should be a very respectful.
It should be the boys only, is what it should be.
Yes, and if they have their families and all that stuff,
that's fine.
Yep, but the fans, no, out of the Hall of Fame.
Like we were talking about earlier, the fans are the worst part of a wrestling show.
They do not. I don't like that. So William Shatner was there.
Yeah.
Was he inducted or did he induct Jerry?
He inducted Jerry
that year, and they start booing and chanting, and it's like, this is not. I don't like that part of it.
I really do not like that part. Yeah. Antonio Inoki.
He just went in WWE here just a couple years ago.
2010.
Has it been that long?
It was 15 years ago. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It
yes.
Really? 2010?
2010, yep, Antonio Inoki. And interesting that they put him in at all because, like you and I were talking about a couple days ago, Antonio Inoki, not many people know this, was the WWF champion.
Yeah.
He beat Bob Backlund, to my understanding, in a shoot.
Yep.
For the belt, and then has kind of been erased from history because him and Vince left on bad terms. But eventually they did put him in. Yeah.
But didn't you say a neat little piece of trivia is that belt still hangs?
I believe that belt still hangs in the New Japan office.
Which, if that's true, that's honestly, I think that's really cool.
That's really cool.
I mean, at that time, I can see how, WWE, was it WWE at the time or WWF at the time?
It would have been, yeah. They would have just changed to WWF.
Yeah.
From the WWF.
Yeah.
Because this is 78, I think.
So yeah, I mean, that's a neat piece of history.
I
Trivia
agree.
history too.
Yeah.
So.
Angelo Poffo.
Oh yeah.
Not in the WWE Hall of Fame, which was surprising to me. I would have thought he was a legacy wing or something, but Angelo Poffo never went in.
He should be. I don't know why he
If nothing else, for fathering 2 wrestling boys.
I was going to say, well, and didn't he... he was involved too.
He was a wrestler. I believe he ran a territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just... I don't know. That one's interesting.
Well, and there's histories there. I mean,
there are. Terry Funk. This angers me. Terry Funk has never been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. The Funks, Terry and Dory Jr., went in.
Yep.
That's really lazy.
I think so.
Terry doesn't get a solo induction?
I agree. Terry would have been big enough to have the solo.
Absolutely.
Terry's big enough to have the solo induction.
So that doesn't sit right with me.
And some people, maybe Terry was okay with that. I don't know.
I'm sure he was. From everything I've heard, Terry was kind of a go with the flow guy.
Yeah, but I mean to me that screams Hall of Fame, and that screams wrestling Hall of Fame. Absolutely. That's no different than I think the Dan Gable Museum. That's wrestling Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. You know? And then just the last 2 they had here in '95, Big John Studd and Gordon Soley. So you really can't argue with any of those.
No.
And Colt, before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to talk about?
There's a ton of stuff I want to talk about, but I don't know if we necessarily have time today. I think we can always add stuff in. You know, we've got plenty of episodes that we're going to sit and have a lot of conversations. But as we mentioned earlier, I think a big thing, and I think a great thing, this past week, John Cena winning the IC title. I think that's huge, and I think that was a really good thing with wrestling in general right now. Mm-hmm. And then, just another thing, Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder being able to come home to WWE. Mm-hmm. And I hope we get to see more of him. And in general right now, I think wrestling as a whole is really doing well. I think, I know there's ups and downs. You're always going to have that with ebbs and flows. Yep. You know, you're always going to have that. But I think in general, pro wrestling right now it's doing so well, and we've got a lot of great companies to be able to watch. TNA is doing, I think, great work. NXT is doing well. AEW, I'm not as big into, especially now that Sting's not there. But, I'm not trying to take anything from a lot of those wrestlers, because I think there's some great guys over there and gals. But, I think wrestling in general is, we got a lot of great stuff going on. So
couldn't have said it better myself.